In the year 1609, Galileo Galilei, a brilliant Italian scientist, built his own telescope, a device far more powerful than any available at the time. With this new tool, he turned his gaze toward the heavens and began a careful study of the night sky. What he saw through the telescope changed the way humanity understood the universe. He observed that the surface of the moon was not smooth and perfect, as many believed, but rough, uneven, and covered with mountains and craters. He also noticed that the sun had dark spots that shifted and changed, proving that the sun itself was not flawless or unchanging. Most strikingly, he saw that the planet Venus displayed phases, crescent, half, and full, much like the moon, a phenomenon that could be explained only if Venus moved around the sun. These discoveries provided strong evidence for the heliocentric theory, first proposed by the Polish astronomer Nicholas Copernicus, which stated that the sun, not the Earth, lies at the center of the solar system. Galileo's observations showed that the Earth itself is not the center of all motion but revolves around the sun along with the other planets. At that time, however, the Catholic Church and most scholars still believed in the ancient geocentric model, the idea, based on the teachings of the Greek philosopher Ptolemy, that the Earth was fixed at the center of the universe and everything else revolved around it. For centuries, this belief had been supported not only by tradition but also by religious interpretations of Scripture. Galileo's discoveries challenged this long-held view and shook the foundations of accepted knowledge. By presenting evidence that contradicted the established order, he set the stage for one of the greatest conflicts between science and religious authority in history. After years of careful observation and study, Galileo decided to share his discoveries with the world. In 1632, he published his famous book, Dialogue Concerning the Two Chief World Systems, in which he clearly and openly supported the heliocentric theory proposed by Copernicus, the idea that the sun, rather than the Earth, is at the center of the solar system. The book was written in the form of a dialogue between three characters, making complex astronomical ideas easier for people to understand. It quickly became popular among scholars and the educated public because of its clarity, wit, and logical reasoning. However, the book also infuriated the leaders of the Catholic Church. At that time, the Church firmly believed in the geocentric model, which stated that the Earth was the center of the universe, a view that was closely linked to their interpretation of the Bible. By presenting evidence that contradicted this belief, Galileo appeared to challenge the authority of the Church itself. The Church accused him of heresy, claiming that he was spreading false religious beliefs and misleading the faithful. Galileo's insistence on the heliocentric model was seen as a direct threat to religious doctrine, and this marked the beginning of a long and difficult conflict between scientific truth and religious authority. In 1633, Galileo Galilei was summoned to Rome to appear before the Church's court, known as the Inquisition. This was a serious and intimidating tribunal that dealt with cases of religious heresy, the accusation of holding beliefs that contradicted church teachings. The judges made it clear to Galileo that if he refused to abandon his ideas about the sun-centered universe, he would face severe punishment. Galileo, now an elderly man in poor health, found himself in a nearly impossible situation. He had devoted his life to uncovering the truth, yet speaking that truth openly now threatened his freedom, and possibly his life. Under immense pressure, Galileo was forced to publicly renounce his belief that the Earth moves around the sun. He solemnly declared that he would no longer teach or defend the heliocentric theory. Despite this forced recantation, the court still declared him guilty of heresy and sentenced him to imprisonment. However, due to his advanced age and fragile health, the sentence was commuted to house arrest. Galileo was ordered to spend the remainder of his life confined to his home, unable to freely share his ideas or continue his public scientific work. This punishment marked a tragic moment in the history of science. A brilliant mind silenced, not by lack of evidence, but by fear of challenging powerful authorities. After being sentenced to house arrest, Galileo spent the remaining years of his life confined to his home, away from public life and the scientific community he had once actively engaged with. Though he could no longer freely observe the heavens with his telescope, his mind remained as sharp as ever. He continued to write, study, and reflect on scientific questions, producing works on physics, motion, and mechanics that would influence generations to come. Galileo passed away in 1642, still living under the church's restrictions. Despite the limitations and personal suffering he endured, his contributions to science were far from forgotten. Centuries later, the world recognized the accuracy and importance of his discoveries, and he became celebrated as one of the greatest scientists in history. Today, Galileo Galilei is remembered as the father of modern science, a pioneer whose courage and intellect helped humanity understand the universe in a fundamentally new way. Speaking the truth is rarely easy. Galileo stood by the facts of science, even when they opposed the beliefs of powerful authorities. His story teaches us that the pursuit of knowledge often comes with challenges, but ultimately, truth and discovery prevail over fear and ignorance. Hey friends, thanks a ton for watching the full video. If you loved it, smash that like button, share it with your friends, and don't forget to hit subscribe if you're new here. We've got plenty more awesome content coming your way. Thank you.